it was XRP that was used or used in some of your products in terms of cross-border transactions to make that faster and quicker and for the liquidity, etc. So why can't you just do that with the RLUSD rather than requiring XRP at all?
Yeah, so we've always been believers in a multi-chain, multi-token future. And so we think that different tokens and different chains, for that matter, are useful at different times for different use cases. Let's take XRP first. XRP is the native asset to the public blockchain, the XRP ledger. So inherently it has a use case in terms of gas fees, as well as for reserve accounts. So that will always be there.
Gas fees and wallet reserves. A lot of people have been panicking in my comments about various interviews that Monica Long has done describing why do we still need XRP when we have RLUSD, this really great stablecoin for making cross-border payments. And, I would say it's the same reason we've needed cryptocurrencies since their inception. It's an escape from traditional financial systems. It's an escape from the fiat currency system. Most stablecoins are denominated in US dollars, yuan, euros, currencies that are printed to infinity, that go down in purchasing power over time, that the government holds control over to seize and freeze and absconder with your value at will. And so we're escaping that. And that is the core value play here. Now, will RLUSD erode some of Ripple's payment volume? Absolutely it will. You betcha. And what that really erodes is the story behind why people want to try to act like XRP will be valuable someday. I know retail investors like myself, we love good stories. We get behind that, but that's all it is. Who cares if some payment volume is going through RLUSD? XRP's core fundamental value is the same. And as we see this ledger be built out into a trading hub that connects blockchains and financial systems, you're going to have much more value running through XRP from all sorts of different trading of cryptocurrencies and gold and real estate interests and all sorts of stuff that XRP will settle on-chain much more efficiently. That's going to more than make up for any trading volume or any payment volume, that we're losing out here from Ripple using stablecoins. They've been using stablecoins. They just didn't talk about it a lot. Now they do. It's a big, business of theirs in RLUSD that they're trying to grow in a big way. But it's not going to erode at all at XRP's value. On-chain, it's the native currency. It's going to be best for trading of value in a lot of circumstances. And it still has value as its primary original intent, to be a more efficient Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency that is faster, cheaper, and more capable. And that's what it is the day it was turned on. And that's what it'll be till the day, they turn it off. Eventually, every piece of software eventually turns off. Hopefully long, time from now beyond when I'm here. But that's the deal here. We don't have to worry about losing out a little bit of payment volume when we're going to gain so much more, in my opinion, long term. Now, my buddy Billy, the XRP cowboy, he's been after me. He's been telling me, Jungle, you're looking at things wrong. XRP, it's not going to do a multiple of all-time high in 2017. It's not going to do a multiple off of all-time high in 2021. What you're going to see is XRP doing a multiple of what it should have done in 2021. The price it would have got to had there not been a lawsuit and the delistings and things like this. And it's interesting. The question we have to ask ourselves is, are we seeing some sort of evidence that might be occurring? And maybe he's right. I did a more in-depth video on this yesterday on Patreon. It's linked down below. You don't have to pay. You don't even have to follow me on there. You can watch it for free. It'll be the link comment and also in the description. But, when we look at this is the key thing. During 2018 to 2020, before that lawsuit was launched, XRP on average was about 47% of Ethereum's market cap. Now, sometimes it was higher than Ethereum's market cap. Sometimes it was very close, but on average, it was about 47%. We look at right now where things are. Most people think Ethereum is going to set a new all-time high, some multiple off of the last run, 2-3x from that. Right now, XRP is about 54% of Ethereum's market cap, essentially catching up to where It at least should be at a minimum. And as we go on a real altcoin run, when this space erupts, because we're not there now, you have Ethereum under $2,000. You have, go down the list. It's pretty depressing because we haven't seen that growth yet. And what you've seen out of XRP going from 50 cents to over $2, where we stand right now, that ain't growth. That is just starting to catch up. And really, we're going to do some multiple off of an unknown number, a much higher number that we would have hit in 2021. There's at least some, semblance of logic and reason behind that. And we're seeing some evidence of that. He might be right. Let me know what you think down below, though, because that would put you up at probably $17 to $33 a coin. If what Billy is saying is correct. And don't forget this, the multiple might not be 2 or 3x. It might be much higher as we get regulations and as we get, legal clarity and you get adoption by institutions. We've seen this in 17. 17 people thought, maybe a $5,000 Bitcoin, that would be wild. That'd be successful. And we did, some astronomically higher number than that, all the way up to 20,000. And the rest of cryptocurrencies as well just went crazy. I mean, something like that could happen again. Now, in full disclosure, I'm still kind of sticking with my plan, right? Cashing out a good chunk at $6, holding 20% for the long term. But I'll tell you this, if it does play out like this, and Billy is right, and he just may be, I wouldn't be surprised. Let me know what you think, though. Ripple's big opportunity. I believe this inherently, to become the micro-strategies of XRP. I've been seeing people say, you know what? Ripple should take their escrow and give it to the U.S. government. Or they should donate it all to the XRP Ledger Foundation. Or maybe they should burn it. I disagree. I think what you do is you take all of that holding of XRP and either you do it in Ripple, the company, or a subsidiary, and you just sell stock to the public, just like MicroStrategies does. They hold Bitcoin. You can invest in their company. They don't sell Bitcoin, right? And the only difference is MicroStrategies is loaded down by all this debt, and Ripple would have no debt. And their company should trade at a premium to the market value of that XRP, especially once we get legal clarity. Once you see this trading in an ETF, like, why would it not? What is inherently the difference here? And if that happened, Ripple be the most valuable company in crypto by a long shot. And further, they don't have any debt, but they sure could use XRP in a productive manner, in lending and liquidity pools, all sorts of stuff to earn a yield off of that massive holding. And I think it would be huge. I think that is really what they should do with this. It would stop new XRP from spitting onto the market, but they're still deriving value from that stock. And we see it happening right now with MicroStrategies and their Bitcoin holdings. Why can't they do it here? I sure think they could. Let me know what you think. Interesting. Restaking is one of the fastest growing markets in crypto. This is coming to XRP and to Flare. And what's interesting with this is you can use the same value, but use it to secure different systems, different dApps, different networks. And it really could be symbiotic for both Flare and for XRP. There might be some big stuff happening here that drives, again, the value of XRP, the value of Flare networks, and you having multiple ways you can earn by holding your XRP. Like, I have my stash of XRP that I plan to hold for the very long term, long horizon to see how things develop. This might be something I want to look at. We have this interview here with Charles Hoskinson. I don't know how to feel about this, to be honest with you. What he's saying is, they need to get paid. He's ready to get paid. And I think he wants 200 million or something like that. And he's saying, if you don't do it, well, maybe we'll just build other things. What, in premise, I think kind of what he's saying makes sense. Like, he's not taking what you've seen other projects take, right? In terms of value, Ripple had everything, all the XRP to begin with. He's not asking for that. Other chains, the teams take a lot of the lion's share of the coins. He's not saying that. But, this is my problem, is with that, we know that up front, right? That's the deal you invest in. And now it's kind of like, well, if they don't get paid, maybe we don't continue here. It's everyone's right, of course, to disengage with the project. You saw Satoshi do that. He went off into the psychosphere, and it was the best thing that could have happened to Bitcoin. I'm not saying he has to stay there, but let me play this interview. I want to see what you think about what Charles is saying.
You have an elite team of people who are prepared to work on Cardano, who have been doing so for a very long time, uncompensated. And they're saying, this is what we need to do that. And the benefit is you're going to get interoperability and scalability. You're going to get all these downstream things to make the ecosystem more competitive. You get our presence, you get our strategy, you get us thinking about it. You get us wanting to work on this. You get us fighting for it. You get us showing up and saying it's the best thing in the world. That's the price tag for that. And if you say no to it, well, then that's okay. There's other bidders in the world, but you can't then complain when we reassign and go and work on another project. I'm not asking for 5% of the ADA supply or 10% of the ADA supply. I'm not Elon Musk asking for a $50 billion pay package. I'm just simply saying, I want you to cover the expenses of my engineers and leave a little profit there for us. And you know what? We will be committed to continuing to work hard.
So I don't really know what to think about that. I mean, what he's saying is probably reasonable. They need money to continue developing. But I just would have wished this would have been settled before they got into this. And you could have had some, something at the beginning that, hey, if we hit these milestones, we get more payment. My concern here is this, all right, we give you this. What is it going to be next year and the year after that? When are you not going to be happy and you're just going to run off into the psychosphere as this thing is halfway built? I don't know really how to feel about this. You let me know if you think this stance is okay. Hey, we now need money or we're out. That's kind of, I guess, how everyone works, right? So you need to get paid. You need to be profitable. I don't know. I just don't know how that sits with me. Let me know what you think here. Now, I saw this from Lauren. He put out this video, too late for Ethereum. And I got to tell you, man, I know the narrative that Solana is just going to eat up the world and Ethereum has had its better days and it's going to zero. And I think everyone's a little bit of a master of panic. If you remember, Shaq used to call Van Gundy the master of panic. And I think that's kind of what's going on here. I mean, with this narrative about Solana being this unstoppable force, remember the thing went all the way up and then all the way down to 17 and then recaptured number 3 and then just got smoked by XRP. If you can't hold number 3, you ain't going for number 2, in my opinion. And I think it's going to get worse for Solana as this continues. Now, I think Solana is going to post good gains. It's going to be profitable. But what you're going to see is more people going off of Solana and into SWI as this bull run continues, and it's going to limit how far up it goes. Further, when you're really big companies out there like BlackRock, like Sony, like you name it, all of them, as they make their foray here into blockchain, they're not going Solana. They're just not. They're not going to do it day one. The amount of stuff that's coming into Ethereum is going to be huge. And that's not to say they don't have a lot of problems with ETH. And they do. But, I just feel people are panicking a little bit with this. And I just don't see Solana really overtaking the world like this. I don't think it's going to get even close to XRP this run for sure. And I think XRP will extend its lead on Solana as we continue here. And I think before it's said and done, Ethereum will do very well, even though they got some real thinking to do about the long term, because it's a blockchain with issues. I'm not saying it's perfect, but they all do. Every blockchain has stuff that needs to be thought about and upgraded and fixed. Lastly, to end this, Bitcoin having the worst post-halving performance in history. Bitcoin is only up 49% since last year's halving. Why is that? In past cycles, it was between a 3x and an 8,000% gain. This is officially the worst we have seen on record. Part of that reason is probably, ETFs really pulled a lot of that post-halving gains up a little bit. We had a little bit earlier in this cycle than normal. A lot of other cycles, you saw extreme volatility continuously to the downside for Bitcoin. We didn't get that this time. It stayed pretty good. We had one big dip below 20,000, but that was about it. And part of it's probably the law of diminishing returns to some extent. But I think a lot of it is ETFs pulling some of that growth on the other side of the halving, the pre-halving side of things, I think is what we saw. It's probably a mixture of a lot of things. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.